Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we have this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget-friendly, and delicious. So if you'd like to get some weeknight meal inspiration for your family, then just keep watching. Tonight for dinner, I made a creamy tortellini pasta along with the side salad and chocolate fondue. This is part of a separate video that I did for a Valentine's Day dinner on a budget. I will be sure to include a link to that video in the description box below, and I'll also pop an iCard up for that. So be sure to check that out to see how I made these recipes. This next day was the Super Bowl, so we made some snacks to enjoy. The first thing I'm going to make is some buffalo chicken dip. I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees. In this bowl, I'm going to add some softened cream cheese and give that a stir a little bit. I'm then going to add in my shredded cheese. Here I'm using a mixture of mozzarella and cheddar because that's what I have on hand. Next, I'm going to add in some ranch dressing, and I will include the recipe for this as well as the recipes for all of the things from today's videos in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. Next, I'm going to add in some buffalo sauce. This is just from the Dollar Tree, but you can use your favorite. Next, I'm going to add in my shredded chicken. This is just a couple of chicken breasts that I had cooked in the crock pot, shredded, and kept in the freezer, but you could use leftover rotisserie chicken or even canned chicken would be fine. I'm going to give that a stir. And then I'm going to place this into a greased casserole dish. Then I'm going to take my spatula and just spread it out a little bit and then cover this with a little more shredded cheese. And then I'm going to place this into the oven and cook this for about 20 minutes or until the cheese is nice and melted. Next, I'm going to make some chicken bacon ranch sliders. I saw this on Mandy in the Makings channel. I will include a link to her video in the description box below. To get started, I'm just going to spray my casserole dish with a little bit of cooking spray. I'm going to be using these King's Hawaiian slider buns. I had never tried these before, but they were actually really good. One thing that I really liked is that they were already cut in half, so that was nice that I didn't have to fight with it and try to cut it in half. So I'm just going to take the bottom halves of those buns and place them into my greased casserole dish. Now, Mandy's recipe did call for potato rolls. I couldn't find them, but these worked out just fine. I didn't follow Mandy's recipe exactly. I layered it a little bit differently. I believe her recipe called to make the butter mixture first and then add that to the bottom of the rolls. Instead, I just added a layer of Colby Jack cheese first. Then I added a layer of the rotisserie chicken deli meat. Next, a layer of bacon. This is just some bacon that I cooked earlier in the day. I'm just breaking it in half to make it a little bit easier to eat. You could use the pre-cooked bacon if you would like. That would probably make it a little easier. Next, I'm going to add some ranch dressing. You can totally use bottled. I just happen to have some homemade that I wanted to use up. So I'm going to add the ranch dressing and then another layer of the Colby Jack cheese and then the tops of the buns. I'm going to set that aside and then get started on the butter topping. I believe Mandy's recipe said to cook this over the stove, and you can do that. I just did it in the microwave. So in this bowl, I've melted some butter again in the microwave. I'm adding my Parmesan cheese, garlic salt, onion powder, and my dried chives. I believe the recipe called for fresh chives. I didn't have any, so I just used the dried. I'm going to stir that together and then brush that over my rolls. Next, I'm going to cover this with foil and cook this for 20 minutes covered and then remove the foil and cook it for 10 minutes uncovered, and it cooks at the same temperature as the buffalo chicken dip, which is 350 degrees. Next up, I'm making some bacon cheddar pinwheels. My husband requested these back at Christmas and I didn't get around to making them for him then, so I wanted to go ahead and make them now. So first, I'm going to take this roll of crescent dough and I'm going to remove the crescents, and you're going to want to remove them in sections of 4. So if you can see at the top, I have 4 crescent rolls and at the bottom I have 4, and then I'm just going to roll those out and then take my fingers and pinch the dough together really well. Next, I'm going to take some ranch dressing and spread that onto the pinwheels. Again, you can use your favorite bottled. I just have, again, some of this homemade ranch that I want to use up. Next, I'm going to add some shredded cheese. I'm using a mixture here of cheddar and mozzarella. That's what I have on hand. Next, I'm going to add my bacon. Here I have a couple of slices of the bacon that I had cooked earlier in the day. I'm going to crumble that up and add it. It wasn't quite enough bacon, so I also added some packaged bacon pieces as well. Next, the recipe calls for you to add in some green onion. I forgot to get some, so again, I'm just using some of these dried chives. I'm going to add that. And then you are going to roll these up, starting with the shorter side. So you're just going to take the shorter side and carefully roll it together. If any of your seams come undone, just kind of pinch them back together. Once I've got this rolled up, I'm going to take a serrated knife and slice these into pinwheels. I'm then going to place these onto a greased cookie sheet, and then I will bake them at 350 degrees for about 12 to 17 minutes or until your crescent rolls are cooked all the way through and are nice and golden brown. For the final snack, I have these cream cheese pepper bites that I got at the Dollar Tree in my freezer. I want to go ahead and use these up, so I'm going to cook them in my air fryer for my husband. I cooked them at 400 degrees for about 4 minutes on one side, flipped it and cooked it for 4 minutes on the other side. And then we had some of this Bronco berry sauce from Arby's. They serve this with their jalapeno poppers. We had some in the fridge, so I just pulled that out for my husband. And here are the finished appetizers. We have the chicken bacon ranch sliders, the bacon cheddar pinwheels, those cream cheese poppers, the buffalo chicken dip, and then I'm serving some of these tortilla chips from Walmart with the buffalo chicken dip, but you could also use crackers or you could use celery sticks or carrot sticks. And here are the plates. So we have the buffalo chicken dip. I normally don't like buffalo wings. I've mentioned this before. I'm not a big fan of vinegary type sauces, but we enjoy this dip. The bacon cheddar pinwheels are so good, and those chicken bacon ranch sliders were delicious. I would highly recommend you giving those a try. For dinner this next night, I really wanted something quick and easy, and I was craving a salad, so I made us some salads. I used the Tyson frozen chicken strips that I cooked in my air fryer. I whipped up a quick homemade honey mustard dressing, which I will include in the description box below, and then I just used the toppings that we had on hand. My husband also wanted a bologna sandwich, so when we went up to visit my grandfather last week, we stopped by the Amish market, and we got some German beef bologna, some horseradish cheddar, and some Amish-made sourdough bread, so I just made him a quick sandwich with that. Dinner was super quick and easy, but delicious. For dinner this next night, I made Crockpot sesame chicken. This is part of a separate video that I did for a recipe swap collab. I made several recipes from Amanda over at Faith Food and Family's channel. I will include a link to my video in the description box below, as well as pop up an iCard for that. You'll definitely want to go check that out to see how I and Amanda made these. This was delicious. This Crockpot sesame chicken, I made it with some white rice and steamed broccoli, and then I also made these chocolate crescents. These were delicious. I highly recommend both of these recipes. For dinner this next night, I made white chicken enchiladas. This is a recipe from Plain Chicken, which again, I will include in the description box below. I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees. I'm going to start by making the mixture to go in the enchiladas, which is really easy. It's just some shredded chicken and Monterey Jack cheese, and I'm going to mix that together and then set that aside. Now for the sauce, I have this small saucepan over about medium heat. I'm going to add in my butter and allow that to melt. Then I'm going to whisk in my flour and cook the flour for about 1 minute. Next, I'm going to add in my chicken broth and then allow this mixture to thicken. While my sauce is thickening up, I am going to get started on making the enchiladas. So I'm going to take some of these flour tortillas, add some of my shredded chicken and cheese mixture, roll that up, and then place that into a greased casserole dish. Once my sauce is thickened up, I'm going to remove it from the heat and add the remaining ingredients. So the recipe calls for sour cream. I'm adding a mixture of light sour cream and Greek yogurt, and then I'm going to add in a can of diced green chilies, give that a stir, and then I tasted this and added just a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm then going to pour my sauce over my enchiladas. And I just wanted to make a quick note here. I know that these are not in any way, shape, form, or fashion authentic Mexican enchiladas, but this is a good recipe to have on hand. It's quick and easy, and it's especially good if you or maybe your kiddos either can't have or don't like the more traditional red sauce type enchiladas. This is a lot more mild in flavor. So next I'm going to add the rest of the shredded Monterey Jack cheese. I'm going to add that and then bake this for about 20 to 25 minutes or until the cheese is nice and golden brown. And then I did broil this for about 1 to 2 minutes. And here it is out of the oven, and then here are the finished plates. So I have the enchiladas. Normally I make like a Mexican rice and refried beans with this, but on this night we weren't super hungry, so I just did some steamed broccoli in the microwave, and that was dinner. For dinner this next night, I made taco pizza. This is a really quick and easy recipe to do. So first I'm going to start by making my taco meat. Here I've got some ground turkey. You could use ground beef or even ground chicken. I'm going to brown that in this skillet, add some taco seasoning, stir that together, and then allow that to simmer for about 5 minutes. I've got my oven preheated to 375 degrees. I'm going to spray my cookie sheet with a little bit of cooking spray. Then I'm going to take my crescent rolls. Here I'm using the dough sheet. That just makes it a little bit easier, but you can just use a regular can of crescent rolls. If you do that, just make sure that you pinch the seams together really well. And I'm just going to press that out just a little bit and then bake this for 13 minutes. While the crust is baking, I'm going to get started on the refried beans, which is going to be the base for the pizza. So in this small mixing bowl, I am going to add a can of refried beans. I'm then going to add about a 1/4 cup of water. That just loosens up the beans a little bit to make it easier to spread. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt and stir that together really well. Now, if you don't like or if you don't have refried beans, you could really use any beans that you like. Pinto beans or black beans would also be fine. And here is the crust after about 13 minutes. You just want to make sure it's cooked all the way through and is golden brown. I'm then going to add a layer of my refried beans and spread that out. Next, I'm going to add my taco meat. Now again, I'm using ground turkey here. You use your favorite meat. And I browned up a pound of ground turkey, but I only ended up using about half for this pizza. You could, of course, add the whole pound if you would like. Next, I'm going to add a layer of shredded cheese, and then I'm going to place this back in the oven for about 3 minutes, just until the cheese is melted. And here's the finished pizza out of the oven. Now we're just going to add our toppings. I like to keep mine pretty simple. I just do some shredded iceberg lettuce, diced tomato, and sour cream. But you could totally use whatever you and your family like here. You could use black olives, jalapeno slices, taco sauce, salsa, avocado, again, whatever you like. With this sour cream, I like to put it in one of these little snack size Ziploc bags, cut off the corner and drizzle that over it. And then it's ready to serve. And here is the finished pizza. And here is my finished plate. You could serve this with some Mexican rice or your favorite vegetable. I wasn't super hungry this night, so I just had the slices of pizza. And that's it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.